Should you buy the latest HomePod or the HomePod Mini? Let's take a look at what these things can do, the differences between them, and why you probably shouldn't get this one. I can only recommend the full-size HomePod for one reason, and we'll talk about what that is at the end. For those of you who aren't familiar with HomePods, this is the latest HomePod that was released earlier this year. This is the HomePod Mini. I think we're coming up on 2 or 3 years with this. The full-size HomePod is $299 and it's available in midnight and white. The Mini is $99 and it's available in space gray, white, orange, yellow, and blue. There's no cute names like Blueberry Bliss and Golden Dream and Snowflake and whatever else. Please, companies, stop with the cutesy color names. Now let's talk about using them. Everything is pretty much cloud-based with these smart speakers, so you're gonna get the same features across them. You can make all the same requests. You're gonna get the same limited third-party support on both of these devices. Overall, you can connect to the same Apple apps and have that integration. Usually with Echo devices, there are features and hardware that is different between them to really separate the different devices. Not so much with Apple. One of the things that Apple added to the new HomePod was the U1 chip. And if you're not familiar with that, it can tell a distance between other U1 devices with high precision. For the HomePods, that's used for handoff. So as you bring your phone closer, you'll actually feel the vibration in the phone, and then it will pass off phone calls or music. Handoff is one of my favorite features that I use every day. I'll just start music here and just pass it off to the HomePod. So let's talk about the biggest difference right off the bat between these. It's pretty obvious based on their size. This one is going to sound better. You have 5 tweeters in here and a separate woofer. That's going to give you way better bass and balanced sound than the single speaker found in this. It's a night and day difference with this. This sounds way better than any Echo device that I've heard, except the Echo Studio. I would say that sounds slightly better than this. The HomePod Mini is a nice sounding speaker, but it lacks a lot of low end. Sometimes I do feel like there's certain parts of music that gets lost in it. I would say it sounds better than an Echo Dot, but not as good as an Amazon Echo. With both Echo devices, you can't adjust their sound at all. Apple doesn't offer any EQ to make it sound the way you want. Both of these have a 4 microphone array in them. I found in using them, they both seem to respond about the same. With both devices, you can play multi-room audio, which means if I start a song on this and play music on the HomePod, I can add a mini in or add a group of minis into the mix. Really nice to play music throughout the house or transfer it from one room to another. You could use both as intercom devices so you don't have to yell through the house. You can make an announcement that dinner's ready or it's time to leave or whatever you need to do. A feature that I like a lot is stereo pairing. You can pair a HomePod with another like HomePod to have a stereo pair. You can also pair that pair with an Apple TV to have theater mode there. I have 2 TVs in my house that are using a stereo pair and I love it. I'll put a link down in the description of my video that talks more about that. We'll talk about some other sound differences in a minute, but now let's talk about using these for the smart home. Now, if you're not familiar with HomeKit, Apple TVs and HomePods serve as a HomeKit hub. You essentially are talking to one of the HomeKit hubs, and then that's telling what your smart devices do. So if you're outside of the house and you control something on your phone, you're basically telling one of the hubs at home to tell your devices to do that, which makes for better security across your smart devices. And if you lose internet, you still have local control with HomeKit. This same thing is being implemented into Matter devices, so you have that local control. Now, if you buy either one of these, it can serve as a Matter controller for your smart home. I know if you go with Echo devices, you have to have the Echo 4th generation. You go and you buy Nest devices, you need the Nest Hub Max and the 2nd generation Nest. You have to kind of figure out which ones can be a Matter controller. Yeah, if you buy either of these, you can start connecting supported devices right away. And what's nice is with that new Matter standard, there's so many more devices that work within an Apple home. Both of these do have a temperature and humidity sensor in them. These are great for running automations, like in my bedroom, when the orange HomePod in there senses it's above 75 degrees, it automatically closes the smart blinds. In a bathroom, if someone's taking a shower and the humidity gets too high, you can have it trigger a fan. Both of these support sound detection that came out earlier this year. The way that works is the HomePods can listen for carbon monoxide and fire alarms. If those are detected, you'll get a notification pushed to your phone, and from there you can actually listen in to see what alarm is going off through your HomePods. Now you can go into settings and you can turn off individual HomePods or turn this feature off altogether. A thing that's nice about both of these that isn't happening in a lot of other smart speakers, these are Thread border routers. And that means that you can hook up Thread devices directly to them without any other kind of hub. Thread is nice for creating a stronger network that actually allows devices to communicate with each other. A light can actually help extend the network even farther to another device. I found that my Nanoleaf Thread smart bulbs are some of the fastest bulbs I've ever used. Before we continue, if you're finding any value in this video and you haven't subscribed yet, please do, so you could come check out the next one. Now let's talk differences. This list is short, starting first with processors. Both of these use former Apple Watch processors. You have the S5 here and the S7. Right now you're not going to notice any performance difference between these two processors. That extra power is really being utilized for the extra sound features that this has. And that's really the only differences that are there. With that extra processing power, they're able to do Dolby Digital surround sound, Dolby Atmos. You also have features like room sensing, so that when you move this and you place it somewhere, it'll actually detect where it's at in the room so that it can adjust the sound accordingly. It also has beamforming technology, so it can send sound to specific space. Boom, make it sound like it's coming from behind you. Cool magic stuff. That beamforming is supposed to give you a more accurate sound. You have auto bass adjustment in there because you can't be trusted to adjust your own bass. No, but so much about these HomePods is that computational audio that Apple uses to adjust the levels and everything for the best sound in real time. The reason this HomePod can do all that great simulated sound out of it is because of the 5 tweeters in it. So it can adjust levels to sound like it's coming around you. It does a pretty good job. It really depends on the shape of the room. In my garage, it's kind of a big space, so the walls to bounce off are limited. If you put it somewhere like in the corner, it's not going to sound like it's coming from around you like it should. Now with the HomePod Mini, you can't do any surround sound stuff because it's a single speaker. Now another huge difference between these two is the removable power cord. And that's about it. Bunch of sound features, removable power cord. I really like the sound out of the new HomePods. I've been using full-size HomePods for speakers for my TV for quite a while. So my recommendations, if you're really going to listen to music a lot, go for this. If you are going to pair it up with an Apple TV, go for one of these. Even if you do just one, like I had here in my office, it sounded so much better than my TV speakers. And it was such a full sound. Now you can pair some HomePod Minis to your Apple TV, but you won't get that full sound out of it. But if you have no plans to hook this up to a TV and you're not gonna be listening to music regularly, do not buy this. Buy 3 of these for the same cost. Instead, you're gonna get the same functionality out of it. Save the money. I think the full-size HomePod is overpriced if you're not gonna take advantage of the sound. I have one in my living room that is a complete waste. We never play music on it. We actually don't make a lot of requests on that one, so we would have been better served with the $99 one instead. Now that you know which HomePod you should buy, you need to know what you can do with it. And this video is going to give you 10 everyday uses. You got to check it out. I'll see you over there. Thanks for watching. Bye.